To try number 753 of getting this stupid video to work. Alright, here we go. 3, 2. Alright, hello everyone. We're going to do a follow-up to our last video where we took an Eagle board file, we created a 3D model of the circuit board, and then we built a real quick box around it just to get the idea of building an enclosure. This video is meant to make a much more useful enclosure, an actual enclosure you probably wouldn't use. Last time we were just trying to show the workflow to get from Eagle to Fusion. Here we want to really just focus on Fusion and how you make a an enclosure. So with that, again, you have to have a 3D model. It has to be into Fusion. If you don't have it, you can go to Autodesk has a gallery website, and you can search for whatever you want. Raspberry Pis. There's already cases built, so if you just want to get a case and print it out yourself, absolutely you can go ahead and do that, or you can get the boards themselves and then build your own custom enclosure. The word of warning I have is be careful. Some models are way more precise, more detailed than others, and that means that your computer is going to have to deal with more components, more parts. So when you're rendering, depending on how fast your computer is, you may want a less detailed model, especially if we're just building a 3D printed enclosure. Really, the only thing we really are going to concern ourselves with is, for example, where's like the headers, where's the USB port, where's the DC power jack. So we don't need a photorealistic model. We can get away with something a little less than that, but just realize there are some really highly detailed models. Be careful if your computer can handle those or not. But you have to have a Autodesk account. You log in, then you can go ahead and download the model to your computer. Then once you go ahead and do that, you save it. We'll go ahead and I've already downloaded it, so I'm going to hit a new project. We're going to call it Arduino Enclosure because the model I picked was an Arduino Uno. And then we'll go ahead and upload that file, and that's going to start as the basis of our 3D enclosure. So we'll build basically we're going to build around an already existing model of an Uno. Now, again, if you had a shield, if you had other things you wanted, you'd have to take that into account. But for our purposes here, we're going to kind of just show you the idea of how to build it around anything. You'll teach enough of the basics that you should be able to extrapolate and build it for anything else you want. So we'll go ahead and let it upload again depending on your internet speed. That will vary. And then once it's done uploading, you can double click it. And again, I'm trying to do this on a computer that probably would like a little bit more horsepower. It's a bit of an older computer, but we will make it work. Alright, so there we go. There's the Uno. Let's do a top-down view. And it crashed on me. This hasn't happened on the last videos, and now it's happening on this attempt. Because I don't think they want me to make this video. Them being somebody else. Alright, we'll cut this out here in a second though. When we do the YouTube video, we'll clean this all up. If you're watching it live though, you get to see all the fun and beauty and disaster that is attempting to make a video real time. Alright, did it save anything? There's the Uno. There's our enclosure. Let's close that out. Do a top down. Zoom out a little bit. Alright. So it's there. So the first thing we were going to want to do is create a sketch. And we're going to want to create it on the XZ plane. I would think the Z is the up down, but for whatever reason, the way my maybe I just haven't configured my my software yet, but the Y is the what I would call the Z-axis. But anyway, so let's go ahead and turn on the Uno. I'm going to draw just a rectangle. We're going to do just basically the outer mold line of the Uno. And then toggle it off, and boom, there's the box. Now, that's the perfect dimensions of the Uno, right? So we want to have a little bit of play inside the box. So what we're going to do next is we're going to offset this. We're going to go, we're going to give ourselves basically 1/4 of a millimeter all the way around. So negative 0.25. That's going to give us this little offset around, and then we'll take this original line and we're going to make it a construction line. So now we turn the Uno back on, we zoom in, we got a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of play there, right? That's what we want. So the next thing we're going to do is take this sketch, and we're going to extrude it up, and we're going to extrude it by the height of the Uno. So if I hit stop sketch, I'll bring up my grid again, I guess. Layout grid, there we go. Alright, so it's about 15, a little less than 15 millimeters, but then there's all the leads of the through-hole components poke through, so we got to kind of account for that. So I'm going to give myself, 5, 10, 15, a little bit more. Let's give ourselves 18 millimeters height. So we'll give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room inside of the enclosure. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Make sure we're on the sketch. We're going to extrude this up 18 millimeters. Hello. There we go. 18 up. We can kind of see the board kind of lays. That should be pretty nice, right? Once we bring everything up. So the next thing we're going to want to do is to basically write down it's a solid box, and we're going to want this to be a hollowed box. So we're going to modify, and we're going to shell this out. So we're going to select, we want to select the whole body. I want a 2 millimeter thickness, and I want to grow the box from the outer wall outward. I don't want to have it to grow inside, because remember, we just basically got the inside dimension just enough to fit the Uno inside. So I want to make sure that the direction it's going to shell out, it's going to basically add another 2 millimeters all the way around, and that way that'll be the thickness of the enclosure. Yours, your depending on your printer, depending on your tolerances, depending on your needs, you can change that thickness. I find that 2 millimeters kind of works good for me, so I hit 2, then I hit OK. Now I'm going to take this body that we just created from that, and we're going to go ahead and make it into a component, and we're going to rename that component Enclosure, if I can spell Enclosure. Alright. At this point, I'm also going to go ahead and do some cleanup on the outside. So like we'll do some fillets all the way around. Boom. Actually, I think that's the wrong one. I want the outside. So let's make sure we get the right ones. And we'll do a millimeter. So I just want to clean out, anything I want to do to the sides that affects the thicknesses. Do that now. That's looking pretty good. All right, so now it's hollow on the inside, but now I've got still just one box. So I need to split this into basically a bottom half, bottom half, and a top half. So what we'll do is we'll make a mid plane. I'll select the top of the box, select the bottom of the box, and it's going to create a mid plane in between those two. And then I will split the box. So we'll say modify, split body, split this body, and then we'll select for the splitting tool that mid plane we just did, hit OK. And now if you notice over here we have two different bodies, and if I mouse over I get different ones. So this one here is obviously the top, so we'll call it top, and then this is the bottom of the enclosure, so we'll call it bottom. And then we can toggle them on and off. There we go. There's the bottom. That's the inside of our Uno. We'll toggle off the construction plane here. And then if I put the Uno back on, you'll notice we still have to basically position on the Z-axis, or the up and down, the vertical, the Y-axis here. But it fits, and there's enough playroom in there that should fit nice and neat. Alright, what else do we want to do now? Let's do something with the mounting. Let's do something with these mounting holes to help keep it nice and snug in there. So I'm going to go back out, make the enclosure the active component. I'm going to turn off the Uno, and let's go ahead and do something with some mounting holes. Now, the way I do it, right, wrong, or indifferent, is I say I want to create a new sketch. I want to create it on this this face of the bottom, inside of the bottom of the enclosure, and then we're going to project through the Uno. And I'm going to say, show me the mounting holes. Hit OK. Turn off the Uno, and voila, I've got my mounting holes. Now, those holes are the exact diameter of the hole. So obviously, if we make little struts or little pegs for it to sit on, and it's the exact diameter, that's no good. So we've got to offset these. So what we're going to do is we're going to select it, and we're going to hit O for offset. We're going to go negative 0.2 millimeters. It's going to make that circle on the inside. So now it will extrude upward. And we're going to change, no, we'll do that later because we want to do something else. So let's go ahead and go over here and just repeat the offset for the other three remaining holes. So select O for offset, negative 0.2, and voila. You'll get really good at something if you keep trying to make videos for it, and the videos always fail about this point. Because you forgot something, or something interrupts you, or something else, like such as life. Alright, here we go. So O for offset, negative 0.2. Alright, so we're going to tell it to stop sketch, and let's extrude these up about 14 millimeters. That should be pretty good. Alright, so let's boom, this in view. Alright. So close. We are so close. Alright, E for extrude. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 14 millimeters. And now cool. The one thing I'm going to do is fillet these edges so that do 0.2 of a millimeter, just so that the board slides down a little bit easier. F for fillet, not to be confused with the fillet. All right, but now remember, so the board will sit on here, but remember there's all that leads from the bottom of the board, so we want the board to actually sit off a little bit. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go top down again, zoom to fit, zoom out, and we're going to turn on that sketch again. Actually, I'm going to turn the body off real quick. So we're going to take that line, and now we're going to offset going positive. Let's try this one more time. O for offset, we'll do a 0.5 millimeter. And then also I want to do is that original line that we kind of projected through, I'm going to make that in construction line, so we'll make X for construction line. And then again, O for offset, 0.5 millimeters, and then we're going to make that a construction line with the hotkey X, the letter X, and repeat. And the last time I got to this point, I noticed my microphone was off, and that was awesome. All right, let's make sure this all looks boot right. All right, so I'm going to hit stop sketch, zoom out. When I extrude, I kind of like to do it in 3D space, so let's turn back on that body, and let's E for extrude, and then we'll select boom, boom, voila, and we're going to go 4 millimeters up, and we'll turn off the sketch, zoom out, and there we go, the bottom of the enclosure. Support pegs for the mounting holes, little offset for them to sit on. Obviously we're going to come back in and do something here with the plate for the USB port. But actually what I want to do now is go back out to the top, turn back on the Uno, turn off the enclosure, and we want to correct it. We actually want to place it on the mounting holes. So to do that, I'm going to do M for move. We're going to select the component that is the Uno. At first, to just get it out of the way, I'm going to do, for my head at least, I get it up and out of the way. So I hit X. So now I toggle back on my enclosure. Basically, I'm going to want this mounting hole, the bottom of that hole, to sit on top of that standoff. Right? So what we're going to do, let's try not to mess this up. We are going to hit M for move again, select the component, but this time instead of doing a translate, we're going to do a point-to-point move. And for my first point, I'm going to select, actually, you know what? Let's not do a move. Let's do an assemble. Let's do a joint. Let's joint this together. So capture position. I'm going to select the hole here, and then I want it to sit there, then hit OK, and I did something wrong because the board went but not all the components, so we don't want that, do we? Let's go ahead and hit undo the joint. Let's try this one more time. Let's try No, I don't want that. Let's do this. Nah. So I want to move. Oh, no, I don't want to move. I want to joint. I want to joint it, not to move it. So assemble, I think J, right? Yeah. Do I need to make this a selection set first? Let's try that. So let's joint that. Select location on component to move, but it's not. I want everything to go. So assemble. Joint rigid group. Oh, I know what's going on. Let's go back out to the Uno. Alright, now we make this a rigid group, capture position. Yep. Sometimes you just have brain farts. So now, I believe if I do joint and I select no this, and then I say go to here, there, now everything goes with it. Yay! And it looks like the mounting holes, let's do a top down. They look good. Things look concentric. Okay, so now that we know that basically the Uno is actually sitting in there, so everything in terms of height when we do these cutouts will be correct at this point. But before we do that, we want to have a place for these mounting pegs. Let's just make sure. I think we want to make these mounting pegs maybe. No, that's actually pretty good. Yeah. But we need something on the top of the enclosure to house these. So look, this is like the male end. We need the female end to capture and then lock in. So what we need to go ahead and do now is go back to activate the enclosure. Turn off the Uno, and what we're actually wanting to go, we activate the top, not the bottom, and let's flip this upside down because anything we want to do is go onto the inside. So from the bottom, and what we're going to go ahead and do now is do again, create a sketch, and we're going to project in the mounting holes again. Actually, I can project the construction, the outside. We'll do. Actually, let me turn off the sketch. Let me do our sketch. Let's project in the Uno. So that way we get it just right, not have to spend too much time. So 1, 2, 3, and oh, I don't think I'm projecting, did I? Yep, I stopped. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Project those in. Turn off the Uno. And the same thing, we're going to want, again, these are the exact dimensions of the, so we're going to want to offset a little bit. So let's go ahead and select, and let's do an offset of, let's see here, let's do 0.25, and then let's do, for the outside of it, let's do another quarter. Let's do half. Can we do, let's see if we can do a 0.5 millimeter. Yeah, that should work. Actually, we did shrink, we already shrank the on the inside. So let's actually make that, let's leave this one as a normal, and let's just offset the outer, and we'll extrude from here and here. I think that should fit just fine. If not, it's a prototype, and we'll learn for the next one. But in the interest of time, and I think it will just work just fine. 0.5, and if we hadn't shrunk down the peg before, I think it would have been more of a problem. But this should be just fine. So O for offset 0.5, and I missed one. Did I? Yeah, there you are. O offset 0.5. Stop sketch. Bottom, top. Sketch 1, sketch 2. Turn that sketch 1. All right. So now we'll extrude out the other side of the, so let's hit E for extrude. Boom. 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 And let's extrude up. Let's see here. Let's try 12. 12 millimeters. All right. Looking snazzy. And let's tell it to view hidden lines 2. Let's do it to a wireframe actually. Visual display, wireframe, hidden edges, and there we go. So that's the offsets. Actually, let me right side this right size. There we go. So there's the offsets the board will sit on. There's the peg on the inside. Here's the hole that's going to overlap. Let's live dangerously, turn the Uno on. That's looking good. Mounting holes, everything looks like it's sitting. Now the only thing we have to do is carve out a place for the USB port, right? So let's go back to Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to make a knockout for the USB. If, let's say, let's see here, let's do an offset plane. We're going to put that on the left face, drag this down a little bit. And then I'm going to begin to do a new sketch on that plane. And then we're going to project through boom, boom. Project through the Uno. So again, let's go ahead and tell it. Let's try this one more time. I'm so close to having this right. Let's make sure we hit save real quick. So let's tell it to project. Alright, so project it through. I want to do an offset again just to give ourselves enough wiggle room. Let's just do 1 millimeter. Stop sketch. What I'm going to do is make these construction lines. So I need to edit the sketch. Tell it these are just construction lines. Don't worry about them. And then we'll extrude out on the offset. I think that's good. So let's hit stop. And E for extrude. And let's do the top of it first. turn off the bottom, select it. We're going to go create a knockout, so go inward. I want to select the extent, change it from distance to 2 objects. Then rotate, actually turn off the Uno, and tell it to the back of the wall. And then hit OK. And voila. We've got the top out, so let's do the same thing for the bottom. Turn on the sketch. Same thing, tell it to E for extrude. Go inward, we're going to knock this out. And tell it to change to 2 object and select the back. And hit OK. Turn the sketches off. Turn the top of the box on. Turn it around. So let's do the home position. And turn the Uno on. Actually, let's go back out to the top here. And voila! There is now a completed enclosure. You can turn the top off, check to make sure everything is still sitting nice and pretty. Looks good. We'll do a top. Let's do a little bit of artwork on the top. So let's turn off this. Make the enclosure the active component. Turn the top on. And let's actually tell it to show me the hidden edges, because I want to do some artwork, but I don't want to make sure I don't mess up my standoffs and the stuff for the mounting hardware. So what will we do? Let's do some text. That was always kicking my butt in other previous things. So let's go ahead and let's do a sketch on the top of the box. So new sketch here. Let's put in some text. Let's just do GSG, or let's do gears. GOR. Let's do GOR. Gears of resistance. Alright, and let's rotate that around. Let's move this down here. Maybe we'll put it in this down here a little bit. Keep it at 180. One of the fonts, for 3D printing, I think it's called typewriter or teletype. Let's go. Stencil, that's it. So Stencil, I'm not sure if it will put enough for the 3D printer to actually print, but it's worth a shot. And if we maybe we'll knock the height up to, like, let's try 20 millimeters. Maybe that'll be enough to when it prints out that way, the letters, basically the holes will be where the letters are, and there'll still be enough to actually create the middle of the O and the R and the G. We'll see. We'll try. If not, we'll try something else. So hit OK. Then again, you hit stop sketch. Then we turn our sketches back on. And E for extrude. Select that. There we go. Let me turn this to the side a little bit. So we're going to extrude this down. And then the same thing, we'll do 2 objects. Flip this bad boy around. Tell it to the back. Hit OK. And let's turn all the bodies back on. There's the bottom of the box. There's the Arduino. And let's go back to shade it with visible edges only. And there we go. A box, custom built for an Arduino project. And hopefully now you'll have enough information to do the same for yourself. Hopefully we didn't confuse you too badly. But now I think you got the whole workflow. We've gone from EagleCAD, doing the board layout, circuits, making the board itself, and now we've gone all the way to making actually a really decent enclosure, not just a box. So with that, I'm going to leave it there. If you got any questions, comments, hit me up. But hopefully that's a good workflow, and you know, you're staying within the Autodesk family of suites, so it kind of just does, you know, hopefully over time it'll even get better. I'm sure that they're going to integrate more and more, but so for now, actually, so let's go ahead and let's take off, just show you how to make sure that you know how to. So if we're going to go ahead and 3D print this, we'll go ahead and select our components. We'll do one at a time. I'll select the whole, why did it change that? So I'm going to go tell it to make 3D print, the selection only, and I don't want to send it to a 3D print utility. I'm just going to turn that off and hit OK, because then that'll allow me to save an STL file. So let's try this. Let's save it there. And just for grins and giggles, let's open up our 3D printer software and see if it likes that STL file. If I can find it. There we go. So let's, I think we can close Fusion for right now. Fusion, quit. Yep, save it. Save and quit. And thanks to the miracle of editing software, we'll edit this all boring part out later. So while that's going, I'm going to have a little lunch here because I got to get ready to hit the road. So if you're watching this live, sorry. Definitely need to get a faster computer. Dear God, man. This is a little ridiculously slow. Looking good. All right. All right, here we go. We're going to start again. Ready? All right, so now we've got it inside of our 3D printer software. Obviously, we have to situate it correctly on the print bed. So we will go ahead and tell it to rotate. And I think this is going to be opposite of Fusion. So X, Y, nope. There we go. So now our 3D printer should be able to take this and run. Alright, so that's it. That's all I wanted to show you. Obviously, it's a time-consuming process even if you know what you're doing, and I really don't know what I'm doing. But if you do know Fusion, you probably go a lot faster. If you've got any secrets or tips or hints that you do when you're using Fusion to make a 3D print enclosure, be kind and share. I would selfishly like to know. I'm sure other people would too. So with that, I've got to run. And if you got any questions, comments, feel free to hit me up at gearsofresistance.com. There's links to everything. And with that, thanks for watching, and see you next time. All right. Whew. Got it done. Got it done. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's open Fusion back up. "22 people. Don't mute. Okay, so we're back. Open up. There we go. All right. That's it for now.